We were getting back up to speed this week following Hurricane Ian, with a lot of high school teams having to play 2 games in 1 week and middle school juggling the schedule. We'll give you all the updates on this episode of the 32081 Scoreboard Show.
It's time for the 32081 Scoreboard Show. Let's recap the latest weekly scores and highlights from around the county.
Hello, I'm Todd, and welcome to the 32081 Scoreboard Show. As always, we have a lot to catch you up on and just a little bit more this week. First up, the Pine Island Dolphins and Palm Valley Bobcats met up at Plantation Park for the first annual Parkway Clash. Let's check in with our Dolphins sideline reporter, Sean, and see how the Fins did against their Parkway rivals.
Coming off a bye week due to Hurricane Ian, Coach Isaac Byers' Dolphins arrived at Plantation Park and found themselves underwater early. The Palm Valley Bobcats came out strong, and a blowout win looked inevitable in the first half. But the Fins surfaced in the second half, scoring 23 points in 22 plays against a clock that was only stopped by timeouts. Quarterback John Hetzel led the way with a couple of runs of around 25 yards, including a touchdown and 2-point conversion. He also threw a 35-yard touchdown pass to Connor Meadows, and Jack Hoover had what may be the longest touchdown run of the season of around 50 yards. The Dolphins lost 32-23, but Coach Byers said it was the most fun half he's ever coached. The Fins proved their ability to rebound, and the team will carry this confidence to Cornerstone Park next Wednesday to face the Freedom Crossing Falcons. Game time is at the work whistle at 5 p.m. Reporting for the 32081 Scoreboard, I'm Sean Finley.
Other SJMSA scores from around the area include, over at St. Augustine High School, the Fruit Cove Flyers continued their impressive season with a 24-14 victory over Murray. The Stingrays from Gamble Rogers silenced the Roar of the Landrum Lions by a score of 30-18. The Mustangs of Mill Creek rolled past the Passetti JV team 44-0. The Freedom Crossing Falcons, under the direction of Coach Andy Williams, kept their undefeated season rolling with a 26-0 victory over the Liberty Pines Wolves. Over at Nice this past week, the Patriot Oaks Chargers took the win 42-6 over the Valley Ridge Hawks. The Passetti varsity team dropped their game 14-25 against the Swiss Point Raiders. Now, turning our attention to high school, kind of a crazy schedule this week for some teams. The Nice Panthers had one of those busy weeks with taking on the Sandalwood Saints and St. Augustine Yellow Jackets all in 1 week. On Tuesday, the Panthers hosted the Saints and lost 51-31. They then turned right around and traveled to St. Augustine on Friday. And here again is Coach P with the recap.
Representing the Nice Panthers football team, this is Coach Pekakanis. The Panthers were dealt their second loss this week by the St. Augustine Saints, 58-41. Another strong performance, though, by Marcus Stokes, as he had rushing and passing TDs. He passed for 242 yards and rushed for 80 more. The Panthers head to Flagler Palm Coast this Friday for their first divisional game. For the 32081 Scoreboard Show, this is Coach Pekakanis from Nice High School in Ponte Vedra.
And thank you for joining us, Coach P. The Nice Panthers, as he said, will now travel to Flagler Palm Coast for their first district game. The Bulldogs have a 4-3 record overall and are now 1-0 in the district after defeating Ponte Vedra earlier in the week. The Nice Flagler Palm Coast game is scheduled for a 7 o'clock kickoff on Friday. As I said, the Ponte Vedra Sharks played the Flagler Palm Coast Bulldogs earlier this week. On Monday, the Bulldogs actually took the game in a close one, 20-17. The Sharks then turned around later in the week on Friday and traveled to Bishop Kenny to take on the undefeated Crusaders. If you were at the game or tried to watch it on the NFHS network, which was very difficult to watch due to the multiple camera angles and split screens by Kenny, you did see a great game. The Sharks were able to pull up an upset victory in the final seconds of the game to win 32-31. The Sharks travel to take on Trinity Catholic Friday night at 7, and hopefully the Kenny Crusaders video team will stop using the split screen and allow viewers to watch the entire game for the rest of the season. The Bears of Bartram Trail didn't have 2 games this week and hosted the Fleming Island Eagles this past Friday. The defense kept the strong Eagles running game in check and was able to bring home a victory 17-0. The Bears will now clash with the Creekside Knights this Friday when they meet up at the Castle for a 7 o'clock district game kickoff. While this will be Bartram's first district game, Creekside is 1-1 in the district. They hosted Oakleaf on Friday, and this was a shootout. The Knights came out with a victory by the point of their swords, 49-48. I'm expecting a standing room only crowd at the Creekside Castle for this matchup. The Decoy Toros was another team with 2 games in 1 week due to Hurricane Ian. The second-year Toros dropped their Tuesday night contest to Placa 26-21, but they turned things around and defeated Menendez 20-6 on Friday. The 5-2 Toros will now travel to take on a tough 6-0 Bradford Tornadoes team this Friday night. Menendez will travel to Clay on Friday night for another district matchup. The Falcons are coming in 1-1 and third in the district, while Clay is 1-0 and trying to hold on to second place behind St. Augustine. And finally, the Beachside Barracudas improved their inaugural season record to 4-1 by defeating Impact Christian 65-6. Yes, that's 65-6. The Barracudas take on Paxton this Friday night at 7 o'clock. Those are your football scores for the area. Please remember to subscribe to the show on your streaming platform of choice. We do this show for the community, and it helps us to gauge the level of interest. I'm the Todd, and thank you for listening to the Scoreboard Show on the 32081.
Thank you for listening to the 32081. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Please don't forget to subscribe to the show so you can join us for the next episode.
I never miss an episode. It's the best.
Until next time, take care.